too, you won't soon forget.
Yeah.
All right, club members, we're back. Club Barnett with Frank.
It's me.
And I'm Jeff. Season 2, episode 2. So
Yes.
two, double deuce.
Oh, look.
22.
Yes, there you go.
And on this episode, we start off by learning about the name of the band, the Muffs. And it was a great question that you had, Frank. And not only do we learn what it is, we also learn what it isn't.
Yeah,
and
Ronnie,
I think there's some misconceptions, I think, about the name.
And Ronnie feels very strongly about that.
Indeed.
And we'll find out about that.
Yeah.
We're also going to find out, I guess, along the journey that Ronnie missed a show. So we'll find out a little bit about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't know that there was this show that Ronnie missed.
No.
So, no.
And the Muffs found a replacement for that particular show, and they happened to be a friend of the band, so it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, and surprisingly, they asked Ronnie back. He didn't get replaced.
No, it's hard to imagine the band without Ronnie in it, though, right?
No. I mean, with the 3-piece like they became, I mean, it's like Rush. You can't imagine like somebody stepping in for, Alex Lifeson and being replaced, because same thing goes for the Muffs. Yeah, there's no Muffs without any of these three, without Kim, Roy, or Ronnie. So
there you go. Enjoy episode 2. Here we go. Who better than Ronnie Barnett to clear this up? Tell us about the name, the Muffs, how it came up, what does it mean, and what does it not mean?
Yeah, well, first off, it's hard to think of a band name. You guys probably know this. It's hard to think of any name. It's hard to name a podcast, right? And part of that's the pressure of knowing you got to name something that's going to stick forever. You know what I mean? So yeah, we had formed our band and we didn't have a name for a good month or two. And so we would throw out everything that crossed our mind would get thrown out. Dumb or not. I remember Crass suggesting that the name Hangnail. All right. Yeah. And he would say, I remember he said kings and queens, just everything. Right. So, and look, it's not, I wish we could have thought of something better myself, but but it is what it is. The Muffs means a mistake. All right. That's how we look at it. I know people have different interpretations of the name, which drives me crazy. But that is what it is. And that's why we always had to stay away from any sexual connotation. We couldn't call an album Shaved or something. You know what I mean? Like, and that said, we'd end up with like a gig poster with like, vagina on it or something. I hate that stuff. But mistake is fine. But yeah, it came up. The three of them liked it better than me, but I couldn't think of anything better. Before that, me and Kim, we wanted to call the band the Dandelions. Which is not a horrible name. It's not the greatest name, but that didn't happen, and we became the Muffs, and that is what it is. So, yeah.
When you think of it, you can't think of a better name for the band, though.
Yeah, I think it seems
fits.
perfect at this point.
Yeah. I know. I hate sometimes I say the name and people chuckle or whatever, or whatever, but it means mistake, all right, or a foolish fellow.
There you go.
That's what it means. So it's an innocent word. And that said, when it's sports season, our name makes headlines. LeBron James Muffs final shot. Punter. Punters on football teams often muff the punt. And stuff. So, It doesn't. If you're thinking it means something else, people, then your head is in the wrong place.
Wrong spot.
That said, be careful when you do a search online.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure those
If you do an
parental
image
controls are on.
search, yeah. Be careful, folks.
Not safe for work.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to make this medical program. So when I had my detached retina, I had the initial surgery, and then I don't know, 2 months later, I don't know what something needed a little fixing, so I got what's called the buckle. But it was, I didn't know I was going to have that surgery, so we had booked a one-off show in Atlanta, and so this surgery I had to get it done, and so this one involved at the end they put a gas bubble in your eye, for those who don't know, and it just kind of keeps the pressure. It does its job, right?
Holds the retina in place, right? Yeah.
And the gas bubble dissipates over, I don't know how many weeks, or 2 weeks or something, but you can't fly when you got that gas bubble in your eye, or else it's gonna, I don't know, pop out of your, roll on the ground. I don't know, something, but yeah, expand. So the show had to go on at that point. So it could only be a dear friend to fill in for me, and someone that's capable.
Gene
and
Simmons.
that ended up being a man named Gene. Ended up being our friend Steve Lack, the bass player from Veruca Salt.
Cool.
So he flew cross country, and the band, it was sweet. We FaceTime before they went on. This was 2014. It was after Whoop-De-Doo. So 2014, 2015. We FaceTime when they were going on, and they had me like make up the set list like I would do.
Right.
And I was sorry that it wasn't going to be in my handwriting, but and Steve always tells me that it's like the highlight of his career.
Wow.
Cool.
To play in the Muffs. So
Right.
one Muffs show ever performed without me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I just learned that earlier today. So that's a good trivia question.
Yeah, that's a good trivia question. People say like, I saw you in Atlanta, and I'm like, I wasn't. You didn't. you might have seen the band, but I wasn't. And yeah, I really left a memorable impression on you, I see.
Yes.
So.
Ronnie, doot doodaloot doot. So Nardwuar, the human serviette. Thoughts on
Yes. Yes. I gotta say, I've known Nardwuar the entire life of the band, and Nardwuar, the Pandoras knew Nardwuar. Nardwuar was it's weird to explain him now. It's amazing how famous he is now. Because I met him. Nardwuar had a radio show. Nardwuar still does his radio show. Nardwuar has not changed. The world changed for Nardwuar is what happened. Immediately loved Nardwuar, and immediately got Nardwuar. A good way, a litmus test, and you can tell how cool somebody is how they react to Nardwuar. I mean, of course, now that he's more well known, people know what he does. But back in the day, when Nardwuar was like, busted interviewing Dan Quayle, or like, people didn't know. It was so different, and people didn't know what to make. And even Jello, he's friends with Jello Biafra now, and Nardwuar's band ended up on Alternative Tentacles and stuff. Well, go back and look at the first Jello Biafra interview with Nardwuar. Jello doesn't get him. And that's how they started. And there's a story you guys might not know. Nardwuar interviewed Beck when Beck's first Geffen album was out, when Loser was hitting and Beck was ascending. It was a phone interview, and Nardwuar kept referring to him as answer me, Beck, voice of a generation. But he kept calling him voice of a generation, and Beck ends up going like, fuck you, and hangs up on him. And that showed to me that Beck not that cool, right?
Yep,
and Beck even went so far as to get Nardwuar banned from interviewing any Geffen acts for like the next few years. I mean, but now, and this is funny in a lot of ways. So Nardwuar kind of found his fame interviewing hip hop artists, right? So he's a big hip hop star. And I work with people at the shop I work at now with these people that are involved. You know, they're big DJ people, and they one of them was like Jay Dilla's best friend, and the literal heavy cats. And when they found out I knew Nardwuar personally, and I'm digging up all these old photos of me and him. They were so blown away. It's amazing. Like, so Nardwuar I can use as a total calling card to be cool with these youngsters.
All of a sudden, yeah.
So it's fantastic. And Nardwuar, yeah, I've seen him through a lot, and the guy hadn't changed a bit. Last time I saw him personally was our last performance that the Muffs did was in Vancouver, and Nardwuar, we were on his radio show right when we landed. Nardwuar drove us around that night, was showing. Can you imagine getting a tour of former Vancouver like places by Nardwuar in his car? That's right, Nardwuar drives, people. I know all this is so weird, but and if you look at the crowd, there's a crowd shot of that gig from our point of view, and you see Nardwuar right up front. So Nardwuar he really is that guy, and he obviously there's a more normal Nardwuar, but he still, when he gets excited, he still gets into that voice when he's showing you the first club in Vancouver or whatever. So in Nardwuar, as you guys know, he does his homework. He blows people away, and he presents them with things. He learns things. I used to kind of be on Team Nardwuar, and I'm part of Nardwuar's got a DVD from some years back. God, probably 12, 15 years now. And I'm part of the commentary. And I was on Team Nardwuar sometimes. I would give him questions. When he's interviewing somebody from LA, he'd call me, Ronnie, I hate to bug you with all these dumb questions all the time, but I'm interviewing Gene Simmons. Do you know any? So I was able to give Gene's, the one I can remember, I'd heard from my old friend Bill Bartell that Gene said when Fresca, yes, there you go. When Fresca went under, Gene Simmons was a huge Fresca fan. So he bought all this Fresca and had a warehouse full of Fresca. Yeah. So I was able to give Nardwuar that question, and he asked Gene Simmons that, and Gene's like so many people with Nardwuar, how do you know this?
Right. Yeah.
Who are you? Like,
yeah.
What? Yeah. So I was on Team. He hadn't called me in a while for questions, but I still consider myself on Team Nardwuar, and I'm proud of it.